Listen to Talk Show in Vegas, talking with those on the right, the left, and everywhere in between. It's Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro.
I hate everything about this Brian Shapiro guy.
This show will make you laugh, make you cry, and it might raise Brian's blood pressure.
You know what, dude? People like you, all you do is make excuses for the orange turd, and I've had it.
Buckle up, because it's Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro.
You're different. I like you.
Now, here's Brian.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. It's good to be back. Took a day off yesterday. I'll talk a little bit more about my vacation here in just a little bit, but we have a lot to get to. Day one of the DNC Convention last night. We're going to be talking about all the speeches. We're going to be previewing tonight. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama going to be speaking in Chicago. But I don't want to waste any more time, and I want to introduce our first guest who has an enormous following on social media. He does such a wonderful job in covering anything and everything that is politics, and of course, I'm talking about Ed Krasenstein from the Krasencast. Does just a wonderful job, and he's joining us right now on the show. Ed, I do appreciate you taking the time to join us, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Appreciate you being here, my friend, and so many questions to get to in a short period of time. As a whole, I just wanted to ask you your impression of last night's DNC convention day one. How would you put it, and what were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was great. I thought it was very high energy. I think Hillary did a great job, and I mean, everybody was waiting for Joe Biden to speak, and you could tell with that 4-minute applause of him. People wanted to hear him speak. People love Joe Biden. There's a lot of talk about people wanting him to step down, and while I think that's true, I think those people who wanted him to step down wanted him to do so out of love. I think they actually do care about him and care about the party in general. So to say that the people who want him to step down don't care about him or love him, it would be absolutely wrong. I think that's something the right's trying to push, is like, nobody actually likes Joe Biden, but that's definitely not the case. People love Joe Biden.
I agree 100%. Speaking of what the right perceive as things, let's talk a little bit about Ashley Biden. I thought she did a wonderful job introducing her father. It was a nice moment they had, embracing one another. He got emotional. But all the right-wing conspiracy theories about how he sexually abused her as a child, I mean, what would you say to all those people on the far right that have been pushing these conspiracy theories for years?
Yeah, they grasp onto any little thing they can get, and then they create these entire stories that are not based on fact. And we saw that with the Hunter Biden laptop. We saw with, them trying to claim that Joe Biden was somehow doing illegal business with foreign governments while he was in office, which, they never actually showed evidence of that. And, you saw it with Ashley Biden's diary, in which she said, showers were probably inappropriate, looking back at it from an adult's perspective. And somehow that becomes Joe Biden assaulted her, Joe Biden raped her, which is just ludicrous. Obviously, this woman loves her father and believes he was, as she's put it, an OG dad.
Right, exactly. And I thought that was, I thought another moment for me, and I want to talk to you about this, was, they're talking a lot about abortion, and rightfully so, because we know what these far right Republicans want to do, and we know what Donald Trump sadly accomplished in overturning Roe versus Wade. At the RNC convention, Ed, I don't think they mentioned abortion once. I don't remember one person bringing it up. And you had those women up on stage, right? You had that couple last night, woman who almost lost her life because she couldn't have a legal abortion. She's lucky to be alive. And you had another woman said that horrible story that her stepfather had raped her when she was 12 and she got pregnant. And, all those women with personal stories, and there were a lot of people choked up. I was one of them. What did you make of that moment? And this didn't feel to me to be pandering to try to get votes. This was a real issue, talking about what most people would consider the number 2 issue on most people's minds in this country, which is abortion.
Yeah, and it's an issue that's going to get the Kamala Harris, Tim Walz party votes. People care about this issue. And to see it put in such an emotional way, I think will do wonders for their campaign, but also just to let people know about what could happen if Trump wins the presidency and if he continues his assault on women's rights and reproductive rights. These types of things will happen, and they have happened, right? I mean, it's not something that is just like, fear mongering, right? This stuff is actually happening because of actions that Trump took while he is in office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. If you're just joining us, Ed Krasenstein from the Krasen Cast does a great job covering anything and everything that is politics. Of course, the DNC tonight, day 2. Ed, what do you want to hear from Michelle Obama, Barack Obama? I know there's a lot of Republicans, actually, that are going to be speaking, a plethora of them. And I want to get your thoughts on that as well. But what do you want to see tonight?
Well, I think whenever you talk about Obama, it is the energy that he brings and the people he gets to pay attention. His favorability rating is well above 50%, and that's unheard of for politicians nowadays, right? So when he speaks, people listen. When he speaks, people love listening. And I think he's going to talk about what Harris can do if she wins the election. I think he's going to talk about what she's done as an attorney general, as a DA, as a senator, as vice president. And people are going to start to come to the conclusion that, this woman is going to be a really good president. And I think Obama's endorsement, but when he talks about her, when he, the energetic way he talks about things, I think that can definitely help her campaign. And same with Michelle. Michelle, I think her favorability is even higher than Barack. Yeah. So I think these are two people on the left who have high favorability, even from people in the middle and people on the right to some extent.
Ed, there are so many distinctions you could make just from last night to the Republican National Convention. I know we both put up kind of similar images where you see deport, that they want to deport people. And on day 1 of the RNC, you see these people holding up signs wanting to deport everybody. And then on the other side, like last night, images of, chanting USA, USA, positive stuff. You don't see let's go, you see let's go Brandon shirts and Confederate flags at these rallies, that I've been to, sadly, these Trump rallies that I go to. And then when I go to a Harris rally, for example, last week in Vegas, it was all positivity, people having a good time. There were no vulgarities. There were no, those types of personal insults that you would see at a Trump rally. Don't you think that's like just such a huge distinction, not just from the rallies, but from the Democrat National Convention last night to the Republican National Convention?
Yeah, and I think Biden tried to do this when he first launched his campaign. But the issue with that is that he tried doing it with the exception of MAGA Republicans, assuming that people would ditch Donald Trump and assuming that you could clearly draw a line to delineate MAGA Republicans from regular Republicans. So he kind of demonized MAGA Republicans, right? But it turns out that virtually all Republicans now, not all, but I'd say like 95% of them are MAGA Republicans. So that unity message didn't really hold up in the long run. Whereas I think Kamala Harris gets a reset on that. And I think she's taking full advantage of that. And she's trying to unify the nation. And she's not stipulating, everybody but MAGA Republicans. She wants to be president for everyone, whether you like her, whether you don't. She's going to be your president. And I think the positive message is something that young voters, people who haven't really been following politics, are going to identify with. Whereas Trump's negative politics and his gloomy, sad, depressing message of American doom is not going to identify. People aren't going to identify with that. At least not people who don't follow him on an everyday basis or who don't really identify one way or another politically.
Yeah.
So
non-cultist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm with you at 150%. What do you make of staunch Republicans, Jeff Duncans of the world, the Adam Kinzingers of the world? You have somebody that was, worked for Mike Pence in that administration that's going to be speaking. A lot of Republicans, a good amount of them at least, are going to be speaking. You have a mayor in Arizona who's going to be speaking, who's a staunch Republican, will be voting for Kamala Harris. This has got to be damaging to Donald Trump. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. But I feel like MAGA, at least the most close supporters to Trump, really don't care anymore, right? Anybody who goes against Trump or has something negative you say about Trump automatically gets labeled as a rhino, Republican in name only, when in reality, those are actually the Republicans of our father and grandfather. Those are the original Republicans, whereas Trump is this new type of Republican, labeling them as rhinos, Republicans in name only. So it should have an effect on independent voters. I think it should have effect. an effect on people who are, not typical voters, but might want to vote this election. Will it have an effect on MAGA Republicans? I don't think much, but I guess we can only wait and see for sure.
That is true. A couple more quick questions for you, Ed, and we do appreciate your time. I want to ask you about the breaking news. I guess it's sort of breaking news. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s vice presidential running mate, Nicole Shanahan, does this podcast. It's circulated on social media today, pretty much saying, well, we're either going to back out and if we do back out, we'll probably support Donald Trump. And then, that video that came out several weeks ago of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Donald Trump, where he's basically offering Kennedy a spot in his administration if he backs out of the race. I mean, to me, it just seems like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., if he does do this, and I think he will, this whole campaign was a fraud. It was all fraud, and he's a fraud, and he's only doing this so he can either get a job in the Trump administration or the Kamala Harris administration. What we've heard is she ignored that call, which I think was the right thing to do. What do you make of this story?
Yeah, I mean, it's really pathetic if he actually did call Kamala Harris to seek a job with her. And he's going to determine who he supports based on who's going to give him a job, right? But, I find it hard to believe that he actually ever thought he had a chance to win this election. Personally, I think some of his policy ideas are good. I think some of his conspiracy theories are whack. But he also has had affiliation with Steve Bannon, who, is Trump's main campaign person from years in the past. So the idea that he wanted more than just a job, I don't know. I don't think he ever thought he had a chance to win the election. No independent candidate will until until the election system changes to allow their candidate to get votes. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't think it's going to really help Trump regardless. Actually, the polling numbers show in most cases that an RFK candidacy hurts Trump more than it hurts Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I've talked about that. I'm curious. You have over 1 million followers just on X alone. You have a huge platform, and there's a reason for that because you're really good at what you do. What is like the biggest complaint you hear from the right, from people that reach out to you? I would imagine you get a lot of messages with over 1 million followers. What are these people on the far right saying about you, like in your inbox? Because I notice you take messages from just about anybody. And I don't know, I would imagine you don't have the time to read all of them, but what's like the biggest criticism from like a MAGA Republican when it comes to you?
I mean, it's just stuff like, oh, you're a liar, or you're a pedophile, or you're a scammer. You're paid to post. That's the most common one, I guess. You're paid to post. And then they take this parody video we made from years ago where Brian says, just joking at the end, and says, see, it's on video. You're claiming that you're paid to post. So it's like, you got to take it with a grain of salt. And I definitely laugh reading some of the messages I receive from people.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of hatred out there. But like I said, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Did you ever, like, if somebody told you 10, 15 years ago you'd have this kind of platform and you'd be this popular with this kind of following, what would you have said?
Yeah, I wouldn't believe it because I really didn't follow politics until 2016. I really didn't pay too much attention. I didn't vote in my first election until Hillary versus Trump. So yeah, 10, 15 years ago, I probably wouldn't have believed it.
Well, you're good at what you do, so I'm certainly not surprised at it. I appreciate you, by the way, sharing some of my videos. I will be going to the Trump rally on Friday, so we'll see if we can get some shots of those Bibles and gold sneakers again. But Ed, love what you do. I appreciate you taking the time to join us on what is a very busy time for everybody that covers politics. Love to have you on again before the elections, my friend, and I do appreciate your time, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate that, Ed. Thank you so much. Love what this guy does. There's a reason why he has such a huge following. He's really good at what he does. Check him out. Not that he needs more followers. He has so many of them. He's got over 1 million of them on Twitter. But Ed Krasenstein from Krasencast, we really do appreciate him taking the time to join us. He reminds me a lot, even though he's not like a Republican or a former Republican, but some of his content, he reminds me a lot of Ron Filipkowski, who's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. Just straight up facts and pointing out hypocrisy and the things from the far right and the things that Donald Trump does. And we appreciate Ed for joining us on the show. So before I get back to the DNC day one, and we have plenty of audio to play for you, I have plenty of opinions on last night, and then I will be previewing day two, which is tonight. Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, just a few of many that are going to be speaking tonight. And of course, we're going to take phone calls. And I didn't even get a chance to thank Doug Basham for filling in for me yesterday. We appreciate Doug being here yesterday. I want to share with you a story and play some audio for you because I promised I would on social media. So for those of you that are wondering, my voice is a little bit hoarse. I went to some concerts in the last couple days, and I'll describe those real briefly, and it'll get to the audio that I'm about to play for you. So Richard Patrick has done this show before. If you don't know who Richard Patrick is, he's a liberal, the lead singer of the band Filter, very popular band going way back to the early 90s. He's formerly of Nine Inch Nails. So this is an alternative rock pioneer. I went to his show in Vegas Friday night. We hung out. We put out a little, vote for Kamala Harris video that I posted on my Twitter page. He's a great guy and one of my favorite bands since I was a kid. So that was a lot of fun for me, and I'm lucky to call him a friend. And then I flew out to L.A. on Saturday for a couple different reasons. Wanted to spend some time at the beach, and I hung out with my friend Nicole Mitchell, who does this show on a weekly basis. Spent some time, hung out with Nicole. That was a lot of fun. Went to Manhattan Beach, and then went to see another concert that night. A couple bands that I grew up with, some of my favorite bands on the planet. Stone Temple Pilots, the band Live, and Our Lady Peace at the beautiful YouTube Theater in Inglewood. Really beautiful venue. So I was screaming a lot over the weekend because these are some of my favorite bands that I grew up with, and it was great to just get away for a couple of days. But you can never get away from everything without talking about politics, right? I explain. I was at Manhattan Beach. Beautiful beach, by the way. Manhattan Beach is just beautiful. And I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about politics. The last person I'm thinking about is Donald Trump. I'm just there to have a good time. I'm very white. I need a tan. I still need a tan. So we're walking on the boardwalk, me and my friend. And all of a sudden, I see this guy decked out in Trump gear with this huge Trump flag. And my first reaction is, I got to talk to this guy. And then his wife is there. And I'm going to give you kind of the visual of it. He's wearing a Make America Great Again hat. He's wearing a shirt that says fight, fight, fight. The picture of Donald Trump when he got up and put his fist up when he was shot in the earlobe and got the boo-boo. And he's got this huge Trump 2024 flag. His wife is a few feet away from me, and she's wearing an InfoWars shirt. So immediately I say, okay, these people are a bunch of buffoons. They're conspiracy theorists. Let's talk to them and let's see how this works. So I tell my friend to record the video, which I posted on YouTube at PTL Radio Show. We're going to play you a little bit of the audio. I go up to him, and this is how the conversation starts. Asking challenging questions. You're cool with that? All right. All right. All right, so here we are with gentlemen. What's your name? Hector. Hector's wearing a Make America Great Again hat, and he's got the flag going here. So why'd you decide to come out here and support Donald Trump? Because of his policies. Give me some. So let's talk secure about border. So if he wanted to secure, let's start there. If he wanted a secure border, why did he tell people not to pass the bill that was a bipartisan bill between Democrats and Republicans?
A lot of bills don't even get read. If you look into that, it would legalize already the illegals that are here illegally.
So it's not perfect. I agree with you.
No, but see, the thing is as soon as we have to be a nation of law and order, we have to decide that.
Okay, so if we're a nation of law and order, why would you want a 34-count felony to be president of the United States? Stop it real quick. I hear this from MAGA Republicans all the time. They talk about the border, and yet when I talk about the bipartisan bill that Donald Trump told Senate Republicans not to vote for, they don't know what to say. But then I hear from a lot of these Republicans, or MAGA supporters, I should say. They want a law and order president, and it's laughable. And I laugh at these idiots like this guy because the law and order president that they want to vote for, a former president that they want back in the White House, is a 34-count felon.
He was charged. It wasn't a felony to begin with. They raised it. It was a misdemeanor.
But that's your legal opinion.
No, that is still a fact. They raised it to a felony,
right,
so they can imprison him.
Who's
Simple
that?
as that.
Who's that?
The power, the true power.
What?
The true power.
The true power.
So a judge
Global
and a
is
jury.
What does that mean?
Down the power line. Have you heard of the council?
No, but I've heard of a judge
Okay,
and a
have you
jury.
heard of the
You've
council?
heard of a judge and a jury.
Yes.
Okay. So
But
a
judge and
judge
the-
and a jury convicted him on 34 counts. So I understand your opinion that you don't think it was fair, and you don't think it was a felony.
It should have been. It should have been
Okay,
charged
so you're
with
entitled.
misdemeanor.
Understood.
Like,
Understood.
Should stay at misdemeanor. Should have been.
So I take your point that you don't believe it should have been a felony. However,
it wasn't.
okay, but
It wasn't.
in your opinion,
It's
but
It's not. It's a fact.
but
it was a misdemeanor.
I understand.
before Trump.
Okay,
Now
I
all
understand.
of a sudden it became
What
a
about all
felony.
the other indictments?
In the first place, is obviously that I mean people can see it. I guess.
Stop it real quick. Guy's giving me a word salad. So he thinks that these 34 felonies that Donald Trump was charged with and convicted of, judge and a jury of his peers, he thinks those are just misdemeanors, right? And he doesn't give me any legal reason why. Oh, they changed it. They changed it. Not every felony count was changed. That's 100% not true. Then he goes into this true power thing. I don't even know exactly what he's talking about with that. But then I say, okay, let's forget about that point for a moment. What about all the other indictments? And he gives me a word salad.
In the first place, is obviously that I mean people can see it. I guess mainstream media.
I'm not mainstream media.
Okay.
I can see that he's a 34-count felon and he's a liable sexual abuser. He was proven at court. He was found liable for sexual abuse by a jury. 34, actually. You're messing with
So there's a guy walking by. He's obviously not a Trump supporter like me. And he's like, yeah, it was actually 32 counts. And I just correct him. I say, by the way, it was 34. You're missing too. And he starts laughing. Now, there are some Trump supporters that walked by too, but that was a funny moment.
found liable for sexual abuse by a jury. 34, actually. You're messing with
I know.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it. I want to go to which. Okay, what's your next? Let's see. Well, he was raised to a felon.
Sure.
Okay,
For sure.
next step.
Do you believe you won the 2020 election? Or would you say Joe Biden? So you say Trump
He says he won.
So where is the evidence of widespread voter fraud that could have changed the outcome of the election?
This is when his wife gets involved too.
Unproven, never been proven in a court of law.
In the court, but the video, we can see with the video.
I don't know what video you're referring to, but okay, let me ask you a question. If that was true, then why is he had 61 chances in a court of law with his attorneys to prove it, and they were all unfounded? Where's the
Have
evidence?
you heard of George Soros?
He brings up George Soros.
Is responsible
George
for
Soros, how many?
Stop it for a second. That's what these conspiracy theorists do. When you pin them in a corner and you ask them for evidence of widespread voter fraud that could have changed the outcome of a free and fair election, they bring up George Soros and 2,000 Mules. Go ahead.
All right, Soros is responsible
George
for.
Soros, how many? He's helped so many campaigns for district attorneys across the country.
Then why didn't Trump? Then why couldn't Trump prove that in a court of law?
It goes above that because you have these Dominion machines. The
Dominion, it's Dominion.
Picture. What's wrong? No, I'll tell you what's wrong with that. So I was on InfoWars, by the way. Alex Jones said the school shooting in Connecticut didn't happen. He said those were actors. While the parents were grieving, hold on a second. You asked me a question. While the parents were grieving for the loss of their children, Alex Jones was going on InfoWars saying that the school shooting in Connecticut didn't happen. He is an utterly disgusting human being, and InfoWars is nothing but a bigoted, racist network that supports attacking brown people and lying and conspiracy theories. And that's why InfoWars and Alex Jones is going to file for bankruptcy. Also, I interviewed Alex Jones' ex-wife. I'm sure both of you seem like nice people.
That was a
I'm sure
lie,
you would
by the way.
support
They
a
don't
man
seem like
abusing
nice
a woman. Well, guess what? Mrs. Jones went on my show. He abused her. He's a horrible human being, and he's a conspiracy.
You know what?
Save America. Get the China bombs out.
Stop, cut that for a second. You had like 4 or 5 idiots walking by, and one chick, not even understanding that we're doing an interview. They're so stupid, these Trump supporters. Get the China communists out. So I would assume that she was referring to Kamala Harris and some Democrats as communists, because again, it's laughable to call Waltz and Harris a communist. There's no ground, but again, it's just like wearing a Let's Go Brandon shirt. These people are some of the dumbest people America has to offer. By the way, this woman that I am speaking with, she's wearing an InfoWars shirt. You have to be a special type of stupid to be wearing an InfoWars shirt. So not only am I dealing with the guy decked out in Trump stuff who hasn't made one legitimate point yet, nothing but conspiracies and stupidity, his wife might even be dumber than he is.
America. Get the Chinatown's out.
The majority of the people.
Wait. He lost the popular vote in 2016.
Yeah.
He lost the popular
So
vote.
if you couldn't hear it, this is a guy who just said the majority of the people support Donald Trump. And I just destroy him with facts again. And we're going to play it for you again, and Kush, you can hear it. He interjects again and says, most of the people in this country support Donald Trump.
America. Get the Chinatown's out.
The majority of the people.
Wait. He lost the popular vote in 2016. He lost the popular vote in 2020. When you say the majority of the people, you're saying more than 50% support Donald Trump. Facts don't add that up. What do you mean? I'll see. He lost. Tell me if you disagree. He lost the popular vote in 2016. He lost the popular vote in 2020. The majority of the people do not support Donald Trump. Now, if you're talking about the Electoral College, he might win.
Couple more deplorables walking by.
So when you say the majority.
By the
of
way,
people
stop it for a
support
second.
Trump, what do you mean?
Just to tell all you people, there were like 10 or 12 people that gathered around this conversation, and they were also recording the conversation. Most of the people there were agreeing with me, smiling, saying I did a good job afterwards. We'll get to that. There were a few people that walked by that you could hear that are saying stupid comments, but there was a gathering of people that gathered around me when this was happening.
When you say the majority of the people support Trump, what do you mean by that? Because the facts don't add that up.
I mean, see, a lot of people live in an echo chamber, especially mainstream media.
You disagree?
There he goes.
Mainstream media.
There he
I'm
goes
not
with the mainstream media again.
Talk. He let you talk.
Yeah.
Let him
I'm not
talk.
mainstream media.
Let him talk.
Go ahead.
That's his wife, by the way. His
His
wife, by the way. That Yenta.
Yeah, the next one. Now, the reason I already went to my first reason why I'm voting for Trump. Now let's go to the next.
No, but hold on. You're not answering my question. See, this is why he's not answering. You just said the majority of America. You just said the majority of America supports Trump. I just told you, made a statement, factually accurate, that Trump won
Have you seen the Trump
popular.
rally? Have you
Excuse
seen the
me.
Trump rally?
Uh,
Have you seen the Kamala Harris rally?
Hold on one
Have
second.
you seen the Joe Biden?
Okay. I'll answer your question. Unlike you, I've been to both rallies. Okay. I was just in Las Vegas because you asked me a question, right? I'm going to respectfully answer it. I was in Las Vegas where there were over 16,000 people at the Thomas and Mack Center. I also went to the Trump rally in Las Vegas because this is what I do for a living. I don't just go to one-sided rallies. I go to both, and then I form my own opinion. In Las Vegas, there was about 7,000 people in Sunset Park in Las Vegas. I was there. In Las Vegas, there were 17,000 people at the Kamala Harris rally. So yes, man, I've been to both, and I'm honest, and I'm not biased. I'm also a registered independent. And this is a 34-count felon rapist. Okay, that's who he is.
He was never
Now, you
accused
can-
of rape.
Actually, he was found liable of rape.
Was he?
Are you talking about
Hunter
I've
Biden.
been accused of rape, man.
The Hunter Biden last
Okay, so
When was it? Okay.
he was found liable of sexual abuse, and the judge characterized it as rape. You can say no all you want. You could also say the
He wasn't accused. He wasn't.
Okay, so let me give you all the accusations. There are 25 women that have accused Donald Trump of rape or sexual assault. Hold on. Rape or sexual assault, including his ex-wife in court documents in a deposition. She has since passed away. Donald Trump was found liable of sexual abuse. The judge characterized it as rape. That's what liable means, sir. That's what liable means. Okay. So a jury, okay. This conversation has nothing to do with Bill Clinton. So, by the way, I don't support, by the way, I agree with you. Unlike you, I'm not one-sided. I can say that.
Yeah, this lady wants to.
Okay. Unlike you guys, I can call out both sides.
Yeah.
Like you.
There you go. This lady wants to, she's in this conversation, she's mentioned Hunter Biden when talking about sexual assault. Hunter Biden has never even been accused of sexual abuse. And then she brings up Bill Clinton. Listen, I'm not here to defend Bill Clinton, and I tell her that, but she brings up everybody but the orange turd who they support.
Unlike you guys, I can call out both sides. I don't like Ilhan Omar. I don't like Rashida Tlaib. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I didn't vote for Barack Obama. But I also I'm not part of a cult. Okay, well, you're out here on a
I'm
beach.
supporting. Yes, because
The guy surrendered. He surrendered.
he supports.
But they're
He
sure.
supports all the things I believe in.
What are those
Rape
things?
or sexual assault?
A good economy.
A good economy.
How was the
30
economy?
30-year mortgages, 2.5% instead of
How was
almost
the economy?
8% now.
How was the economy when he left it off to Joe Biden when we were losing
Oh, a
4,000
lot
people a
better.
day?
Everybody.
A lot better?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
How can you compare Donald
Why
Trump
do
to Joe
people
Biden? Joe Biden,
I would love to.
Even
I would love
the
to. I would love to do
Democratic
that.
Party's turning
he
against
sleeps
Biden.
23 hours a day
I
and
would love
gets
to do
out for
that.
an hour and eats ice cream.
I would love to
Stop that
compare
for a
Joe Biden
second.
to Donald
Oh,
Trump.
so
So she just said Joe Biden sleeps 23 hours a day. These are how stupid these people are. I don't know who's dumber, him or I think his wife might even be dumber. She's brought up Hunter Biden. She says something else very stupid here coming up. But she brings up Bill Clinton, Hunter Biden, and now she says that Joe Biden sleeps 23 hours a day.
Sleeps 23 hours a day
I
and
would love
gets
to do
out for
that.
an hour and eats ice cream.
I would love to compare
cream.
Joe Biden to Donald
Oh,
Trump.
Joe
They're
Biden-
walking away now.
Yeah, because
Notice how they walk away.
No?
They walk
Yeah.
away.
Here's where they walk away.
An interview questions. What's your
Is
favorite
this your
ice
wife? She
cream?
asked me a question. I'll
You never
gladly
had
answer
What's
it.
your favorite ice cream, Mr. Biden? Cookies
What's
and
your
cream.
favorite ice cream? That's your criticism of Joe Biden? Have a nice day,
No.
You
guys.
guys are losers.
Good luck with your InfoWars.
You got dementia.
Yeah, I think you have dementia. Have a nice day. Ladies and gentlemen,
They're walking away.
ladies and gentlemen, those are two deplorables. Okay, those are two deplorables. Okay, InfoWars. She's wearing an InfoWars shirt. We all know about Alex Jones, who Alex Jones is. Those are two deplorables walking away. Okay, they always walk away from me because I always bring the facts. I would say the combined IQ of that couple is about 40.
That's being
Have
generous.
a nice day, deplorables. Have a nice day.
Yeah, they walked away from me, by the way. There you go. So she says that I'm argumentative. She called me a libtard. And in that brief conversation, she talked about the ice cream that Joe Biden likes. She claimed that Hunter Biden was a sexual predator. She brought up Bill Clinton, who was a president how many years ago? And she's wearing an InfoWars shirt, so you wouldn't expect anything any less from a deplorable idiot. And I mean everything I said. Those two people are idiots. They are dangerous idiots, and they are your typical Donald Trump supporters. Very stupid people that cannot support any of their opinions with any facts at all. They both believe that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. That should be where the conversation ends right there. When I talk to anybody that thinks that Donald Trump won the 2020 election, you're an idiot. I don't know what else to say. You're not very intelligent. It's either you're stupid like those two people, or you know that Donald Trump lost and you're just saying it to remain in power or gain financially. But those two people were just complete morons. And they walked away from me. I didn't walk away from them. I would have gladly continued the conversation. Every question I asked, he didn't answer. When he brought up immigration, he didn't know what the bipartisan bill was. He had no idea what was in it. He wants to talk about law and order. That's what these MAGA Republicans do. We want a president that's law and order, and you're supporting someone that's a 34-count felon. But, oh, no, it's a two-tier justice system. Those were only misdemeanors. All right, what about all the other indictments? Dead air. Didn't know how to answer that question either. So he didn't directly answer any of my questions. Then I have his dopey wife. And how despicable of a human being do you have to be to buy InfoWars merchandise? Really, the guy who runs InfoWars is the guy who said the school shooting at Sandy Hook didn't happen. How dumb and stupid are you to support somebody like that? You might as well be wearing an Adolf Hitler shirt. How stupid do you have to be to support a company like that? So right then and there, I knew how dumb she was. And by the way, it wasn't even my objective to interview her. I was talking to him, and he wouldn't directly answer any of my questions. Example, he's the one who says, most of this country supports Donald Trump. And I say, well, wait a second. He lost the popular vote in 2016. He lost the popular vote in 2020. He's definitely going to lose the popular vote in November. What do you mean most of the country supports Trump? And he can't answer a question. These people are so stupid. They attempt to form a ridiculous opinion, and of course they can't back it up with anything. It's throw it on a wall and hope it sticks. And then his wife brought up Ashley Biden, who, by the way, introduced her father on the stage at the DNC yesterday. It was an emotional moment. But then again, they'll still pour in the blatant conspiracy theories. So that was my interaction. I also put up a video of him. These are people with nothing better to do. They're not breaking the law, but they have nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon because they're cultists, to be at Manhattan Beach and to be waving a Donald Trump flag decked out in their InfoWars and MAGA gear. because they are deplorables. When Hillary Clinton said deplorables, she was talking about these kinds of people who have no basis in fact, have no basis in reality, and they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. So I do want to take some phone calls when we come back, and I do want to play some audio when we come back from day one last night and give you my thoughts on that. So here's what I recommend that you would do, and if you can, because we are an independently owned radio station, check out my website, which is pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website is pushingthelimits.live. You go to my website where you can buy merchandise on there. Maybe the lady who bought the InfoWars shirt, maybe she could buy a PTL shirt. I don't know. But you go on the website, pushingthelimits.live, and you can purchase shirts, hats, mugs, you name it, we got it. Now, if you don't want to purchase anything, no problem. There is a donate button on the front page. On that donate button, it doesn't matter whether you donate $5, $10, $20 a month. It's really whatever you can afford. And with a donation, I will personally reach out to you as a thank you. So that's how you support what we do. We are an independently owned radio show. It costs money to put a show like this together every day, and I appreciate what you can do. Please check us out, pushingthelimits.live. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll take your phone calls. We had Ed Krasenstein on, 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. We're going to play some audio from day one, last night, the DNC Convention. We'll be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday, or I'm sorry, Tuesday. It feels like a Monday for me. Doug Basham filled in for me yesterday. My thanks to Ed Krasenstein for joining us. Boy, over 1 million followers on Twitter. He does a great job covering politics. And tomorrow, another guy that's got close to 1 million followers, Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch, is going to be joining us. So certainly looking forward to that. We're going to get somebody from the Harris campaign to join us this week as well, reporting from the I shouldn't say reporting, but at the DNC. So that's going to be fun tonight. As I mentioned, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama are scheduled to speak. This portion of the show brought to you by Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. And we have some great promotions over there at Jackson's this month, including if anybody wins a taxable jackpot and you're actively playing in a machine, you're going to get $20 in free slot play within 24 hours. How cool is that? I was out there the other day. Love it. Great people, great atmosphere, great owners. And just a great place to sit back, relax, grab a drink, and, play some slots. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. I did promise I would get to the phone calls at 702-221-7283, which is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. I'll be honest with you. We didn't really know that Kamala Harris was going to be speaking at all yesterday. That was actually kind of a surprise. But I thought her message was to the point. It was brief. It was quick. And, of course, she's going to be speaking on the last night. But this is a little bit of what Harris had to say last night if you want to take a look at this. This is Kamala Harris last night at the DNC Convention. Have a listen to this.
And this November we will come together and declare, and this November we will come together and declare with one voice, as one people, we are moving forward.
So it was a brief statement by Kamala Harris and a couple quick words just to kind of open things up on prime time on day one. Thought it was great to see her and her husband sitting there, of course, with Mr. Walton and his wife as well. Joe Biden's family, Jill Biden. We'll get to all that. But before I get to the calls, I do want to play this clip for you. Because as you know, Steve Kerr, the guy's won a plethora of championships and now add a gold medal to his resume. And I put this on social media because, the RNC, they get steroid freak racist wrestlers and Hulk Hogan. By the way, it pains me to say that because I grew up when I was a kid being a big Hulk Hogan fan. But the guy is a blatant racist turd. And then you get Kid Rock, trashy artists, people like Kid Rock, and then wife beaters like Dana White. This is who the DNC get. You get heroes. You get people who understand what leadership looks like. And I thought this was a great moment because he used like a sports analogy of what Steve Kerr did with the night-night thing last night. Have a listen.
In the words of the great Steph Curry, we can tell Donald Trump, night-night.
Thought that was awesome. He got a standing ovation. I love Steve Kerr. I've talked to him about social issues like gun control. His father was killed from gun violence. Steve Kerr's a great man and a great coach and just a great human being. And I thought that was really important for him to be there. All right, let's take some phone calls. What do you guys think about my interaction on Manhattan Beach over the weekend? I'm always working. So we'll get your thoughts on that. And day one of the DNC, we're going to continue to play audio throughout the show. I just wanted to start off there with a few clips. Let's start off with Helga. Helga is first up on PTL. Hi, Helga.
Hi. Hi, Brian.
Hey, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian, why didn't you ask those idiots if they took the similar check from Biden?
Yeah, you know what? They probably did. That would have been a good question.
That's probably where she got her shirt from.
Yeah, InfoWars. Helga, I knew what I was probably getting myself into, but I continue to want to expose how stupid these people are. So many of these Trump supporters are just so stupid. They're so dumb. They'll give a ridiculous opinion, and then they can't back it up with any facts at all. I mean, just in that 5 minutes, they spoke about Dominion voting machines. They say that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. They say that all those felonies that Donald Trump was convicted of were fake felonies. They weren't real felonies. The conspiracy theories, you can't really have any sort of conversation of any substance with somebody that is that stupid.
Well, they are kindergarten dropouts.
Yeah, they probably are. That's an insult to kindergartners. But
I know.
you know,
I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. But you know, the thing is that I'm probably going to be going to the Donald Trump press conference or not press conference. He's holding a rally here in Vegas on Friday, and 90% of those people, maybe higher, are going to be people like those that I interviewed on Manhattan Beach. They're going to be uneducated. They're going to have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to the issues. They're all going to be conspiracy theorists. They'd either watch InfoWars or Newsmax. That's who these people are. They're all brainwashed morons. I don't know what else to say.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
I listened to him when he had that one, whatever you call it, he has, and he said he's going to cut the taxes on Social Security.
Yeah.
What taxes? If he takes away Social Security from us, we have nothing.
Well, you're right about that. And we've heard people, and thank you, by the way, for the call, Helga. You're absolutely right. We've heard people like Mike Lee on video saying they want to get rid of Social Security. We've heard them say it. Imagine what they're saying privately when they're willing to say this publicly. You're absolutely right. And then the idea that the economy was so great under Donald Trump. Did you see the economy that Barack Obama left Donald Trump compared to the economy that Donald Trump left Joe Biden? We were losing 3,000 to 4,000 people a day from COVID. Nobody was working. We were all in lockdown. And by the way, Donald Trump put us $8.4 trillion in debt. And I hear all these Republicans every day on social media talking about fiscal responsibility, less government involvement, yet they want to tell a woman what to do with their body. And they want to support the convicted felon rapist who put us $8.3 trillion in debt. You cannot make this stuff up. Let's go to Joseph. Joseph is next up on PTL, 702-221-7283. What's up, Joseph?
Yeah, hey, Brian. All right, here's my piece. Seeing day one of the Democrat National Convention, I felt that's way better than the Republican convention. And also, I do enjoy the one where there's from Michigan, this woman brought in this Project 2025 document explaining everything to the people about what the second Trump presidency is going to bring. And I hope she's going to start saying some more about it, like how Trump wants to rid Disability Act, like as in getting rid of disability funds. And the way he was talking about his nephew, the way he said to his nephew about his son who was disabled, I find that is way more disgusting because that's what Trump is trying to be like Hitler. He only cares about those who are not disabled and more like Germany.
Right. Suckers and losers. You name it, the draft dodger himself. And, while this is all going on, Joseph, we have J.D. Vance, who's going on his couch cat lady tour in front of like 30 or 40 people, continuing to embarrass himself and quite frankly, embarrass the Trump campaign, if that's even possible. Donald Trump tweeting on Truth Social consistently because he's losing his mind by the day. And, this was just day one. And I thought there were so many powerful moments in just day one. In closing, I guess I'll ask you a question. I'll ask this to anybody else. What did you hear? What did you feel of the chant of "lock him up" when Hillary Clinton was up there on that stage? What did you think about that?
Well, I would say Trump deserves to be locked up because, after all, he's the guy who incited violence on the Capitol. Mm-hmm. He also sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll, and he thinks he's way better than way handsome looking than Kamala Harris. But it's no wonder. But when I saw him,
that joke, that comment was so absurd. But first of all, let me just say this: Kamala Harris is not only a beautiful woman; she's very beautiful. 60 years old, she's beautiful. She's also extremely intelligent and she's a good mother and a good wife, and she has some great characteristics. And you look at Donald Trump, and I hate to just talk about looks, but that comment is so. Has anyone seen what Donald Trump looks like on the golf course? That blob with the 8 layers of orange makeup and 4 hair transplants, and he's got nothing else. He's got nothing else. So he goes to the personal insults. Is there any human being on the planet that would say Trump is better looking as a man than Harris is as a woman? Is there anybody on the planet that would say that's reasonable? Give me a break.
I know. I mean, the way Trump looks, it's no wonder Stormy Daniels has been having nightmares about that in bed.
I would too. I appreciate the call, my man. You're right. I would too, Joseph. Thank you so much for the phone call. Ooh, imagine what Stormy had to go through there in that 20 seconds of hell. 702-221-7283. Again, 702-221-SAVE. We have one phone line open. Let's go to Eric. Eric is next on PTL. Hi, Eric. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. I'm calling from here in Nevada. I just wanted to tell you that I'm glad you had a great vacation out to Manhattan Beach, but I'm surprised that you were able to find the MAGA people that you found so easily there. It just blows my mind that even in California, there's those types of folks. Now, here's my biggest concern. First of all, I know that Harris is going to win the election, but my biggest concern is people like that all over this country, low IQ people, idiots, really, if you think about it. What are they going to do? They're going to lose their minds. They have no self-control. And people with low IQs tend to make very bad decisions. What's going to happen to this country when that happens? I'm just concerned for everybody's safety at this point.
To your first point, the reason why I saw these Trump supporters is because he had this huge flag and you couldn't miss him. But yeah, I was a little surprised as well. But you're always going to get one idiot in a big crowd, and that's what I found there. As far as your second statement, I am concerned as well, and that is why, as Americans, regardless of whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, we have to go to the ballot box, and we have to vote for the prosecutor over the convicted felon. Let's just call it for what it is. We have to do that. I enjoyed the DNC last night. I thought for the most part they did a good job. I would have tweaked a few things around. Thought it went a little late, but I thought for the most part, we saw a relaxed Joe Biden. Seemed like a lot of stress has been taken off of him, and now he could still focus on being president for the next 4 months. I thought he was honored in the right way with the standing ovation, and he deserves it. He's a good man. And I appreciate the call, my man. Thank you so much for the phone call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Courtney, who's next up on PTL. Hi, Courtney. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Brooklyn. It's your regular caller.
Thank you for calling. What's on your mind?
Oh, I thought the best line of the night was from Jasmine Crockett when she said, Kamala has a resume and Trump has a rap sheet.
It's true.
That shit was hilarious.
It's true. Well, it's absolutely true. She's 100% correct. And by the way, I'm going to play some AOC after this call, but I thought she was on fire as well. These are rising stars within the party. They are women of color, which I think is a wonderful thing to have diversity like that representing you. I think that's awesome. And when you look at who do the Republicans have? Amber Rose, who are there? Byron Donalds, who seems like he praises Jim Crow. I mean, who do the Republican have? There was nothing but diversity in the crowd. There was nothing but diversity on the stage. People were having fun. They were joyous, right? And we didn't have to listen to Kid Rock, which is always a bonus. We didn't have to listen to that steroid racist freak Hulk Hogan or a woman abuser like Dana White. You know, I mean, these are who these Klan cultists are. The Republican National Convention. Make us not forget. After Donald Trump, his ear miraculously growed back, they were wearing all those weird ear bandage because they're a bunch of cultists. I interviewed a couple of them in Manhattan Beach. I just played that for you. These people are some of the dumbest people America has to offer. These big Trump supporters, I'll say it again, they are some of the dumbest people that America has to offer.
Yes, because there's one dumb woman on Twitter came at me claiming that the Democrats have mobile abortion vans at the convention.
Well, that person
she's that dumb.
I guarantee you that person is the same person that talks about the Hunter Biden laptop, same person that says that Donald Trump won the 2020 election and sources 2,000 mules, the same person who probably watches Alex Jones, Newsmax, and OAN, the same person who buys the Donald Trump Bibles, buys the gold sneakers, and then complains that they don't have any money. So, that's par for the course for these people, my dear, and I appreciate your phone call. Be safe out there in New York. We know that Donald Trump ain't winning New York, that's for sure. Thank God. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Beverly. Beverly is next up on PTL. One phone line open. Let's go to Beverly. Beverly, what's up?
Hi, how are you today?
Hey, good, Beverly.
I'm calling from Mississippi. I'm calling because yesterday, before the convention took place, Donald Trump was interviewed, and he continues to say he's smart. If you're smart, you don't have to say you're smart. Your actions and your speech lets people know that you're smart. So, in my opinion, his ego is so deflated. The only thing that he can do is talk about himself.
He's unraveling.
And I don't understand.
He's been unraveling by the day. You know, just yesterday, I think he put up like 40 social media posts in a span of like an hour and a half. He's desperate, and the attacks are getting desperate by the day, by the hour. They're losing.
Yes.
They know they are trailing now. They know they are losing. They know that this party, at least at the DNC, from what I saw from yesterday, and I don't expect there to be any major changes tonight, it's going to be about positivity. It's going to be about talking about Kamala Harris, who I admire very much, by the way. As I learn more about her, I got to be honest with you. The last 5-6 years, I haven't known anywhere near enough about her that I know now. The fact that she had to work at McDonald's to pay her way through school and made something of herself is something that I appreciate a great deal. And I respect her and I respect her family a great deal. They seem like a normal family, right? They're normal people. This is a normal, good family.
Yes.
And there were a lot of normal people at the DNC convention last night.
Yes.
Diversity, normal people that just want to provide for their families, normal people that don't want to put on the television and see a 34 count felon rapist every day. That's all.
Well, I totally agree with everything that you're saying. And what I like about the Democrats is that we care more about humanity and more about people than in this country than we care about our own, interests. And that's his problem. He's really using the people. And I have to wonder if they're going to drink the Kool-Aid like the cult leader told the people to do some years ago, because they continue to think that this man is going to be their savior, and he's not. He's going to be their demon. And unfortunately, they think whatever is going to happen is only going to affect a few people, and it's going to affect them as much as it's going to affect anybody else.
Very well said, dear, and I appreciate your call. Thank you for calling in. Think about the message by the DNC yesterday. Real human life stories about women that had to get abortions and they couldn't. Real life stories of women that are adults now, but when they were younger, tragically were raped by family members. Real stories talking about giving the women the right to choose what to do with their own bodies. Talking about giving tax breaks to the middle class, not the highest tax breaks for the top 1% in decades, which is exactly what Donald Trump did, or putting us $8.4 trillion in debt. These were facts, and the facts that serious crimes have been down under Joe Biden. They were up over 30% under Donald Trump. Real stories about how Joe Biden decided he wanted to run for president after he heard what had taken place in Charlottesville. Now, if you're one of those people that says, when he says good people on both sides, that's a lie, because 5 minutes later he denounced white supremacy, then I ask you a question then. Why is it on a debate stage with Joe Biden, when he was asked to denounce the Proud Boys, he refused to do so? Instead, he said, stand back and stand by. So no, I take Joe Biden when Trump said good people on both sides, Donald Trump knew exactly what he was talking about. He wants the support of the Klan. He wants the support of white supremacists. That's why Nick Fuentes had dinner with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago with Kanye West. I want to play you a clip quickly here. And I thought AOC, she sounds great. She looks great. She's a rising star in the party. They love AOC. And this is a very powerful, beautiful woman on a stage last night. And boy, I got to tell you, I enjoyed it when she slammed Donald Trump. Have a listen to this.
We know that Donald Trump would sell this country for $1 if it meant lining his own pockets and greasing the palms of his Wall Street friends. And I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people way of life. The truth is, you cannot love this country if you only fight for the wealthy and big business. To love this country is to fight for its people.
Damn right. And I thought this was the most important part of her speech, because I've talked about this all the time. Chances are, if you know a bunch of MAGA Republicans, at one time or another, if you bring up AOC, they'll mock her for being a bartender, as if there's something wrong with that. Think of all the bartenders here in Las Vegas, across the country. There's nothing wrong with that, working in the service industry. We need you people to work in the service industry so that we can go to that bar, go to that restaurant, and we appreciate your hard work. It's why there's something called a tip. And nobody gave AOC anything, very similar to Kamala Harris in some ways. She worked her way through school as a bartender. I think most reasonable Americans that weren't given a $500 million company from their daddy appreciate hardworking Americans, appreciate that job you had or still have. Could be a waiter, could be a bartender, could be an Uber driver. Doesn't matter what it is. Working an honest living to get a quality education and to really make something of yourself and pursue your dreams. It's exactly what AOC did. And I don't always agree with her on issues, but I have respect for her because she worked hard to get to where she is. Listen to her talking about this.
Since I got elected, Republicans have attacked me by saying that I should go back to bartending. But let me tell you, I'm happy to any day of the week because there is nothing wrong with working for a living. Imagine having leaders in the White House who understand that. Leaders like Kamala and Tim.
Yeah, these are people that know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, Tim Walz is a high school teacher. He wasn't loaded with money. Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's to pay her way through school. These are two people that understand what it's like to work hard for a living, to work that hard 9-to-5 job to put food on the table. Donald Trump's never had a 9-to-5 job. Donald Trump doesn't know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. And I just feel like it's really a poignant big difference between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party today. Hence why Donald Trump gave the rich, the top 1%, the biggest tax breaks in decades. All right, number to call is 702-221-7283. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of the program, is 702-221-SAVE. All right, we are going to get back to the phone lines now. And why don't we go to Jill? I think we're going to go to Jill next. And again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And coming up here in a little bit, you're going to be hearing from Jamie Raskin, Crockett, and many others. Let's go to Jill. Jill, what's going on?
Hi. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. Jill, are you still there? I think we just lost Jill. Jill, did we lose you? Yeah, we just lost Jill. All right, Jill, I apologize for that. That was an accident that we made there. Please call back, and that was very unintentional. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. Let's go to Mark. Hi, Mark. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, Mark?
Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
Had a good conversation with Doug yesterday. Great guest host.
Good.
Really enjoyed him.
Good. I'm glad you did.
I wanted to mention, and I was going to bring up Ocasio, great speech that she had, but there was a lot of great speeches. And notice the difference of doom and gloom versus hope and joy. This is the direct opposite of both RNC and the DNC.
Mm-hmm.
One is doing doom and gloom, the other is joy and hope. But I also wanted to mention about you meeting that couple in the street.
Mm-hmm. On the beach.
And, yeah. And I learned a long time ago, Brian. See, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 6'3", and I know martial arts. And I don't engage with these people anymore. I learned a long time ago that no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you can bring the Lord Jesus Christ down. He could tell them the facts, or she, whatever that person is, that being, and they will deny it, and they will pivot. They will bring up what if, what aboutisms, all that nonsense. Now, when I run into someone like that, I try not to talk to them. I avoid them. But I always, when I'm not going out with my wife anywhere or anything like that, I always wear my military shirts, not official ones that I had bought. And this happened a couple of times where a guy who was dressed down in Trump gear. Now, I haven't seen that much this year as opposed to 4 years ago. Way less in PA.
Okay, but hang on. Let me just backtrack a little bit here. I understand what you're saying. Where I don't even bother talking to those people. I get that.
But I know it's your job to. I get that. I get that.
But it's not only that it's my job. They need to be exposed. And sometimes when you have a moron, and by the way, it's his right. Even though I think he's a moron, it's my right to call him that. I think anybody that's waving around a Trump flag is a moron. I want to be very clear on that.
Right.
It still is his First Amendment right to do so. That's not what that's not what I have a problem with. I have a problem with his views, but it's our job, or at least my job and other members of the media, in my opinion, to expose these people for how stupid they are. Now, everybody has different.
Well, I do too, Brian. Brian, excuse me. I do too, but not in the way you do it. I had a guy not come up to me. We were online at the same register. And he turned around and looked at me and said, "Thank you for your service." And he was dressed up in Trump gear. And all I did, Brian, I swear on my baby in heaven, I looked at him, I said, "Don't ever thank me for service when you are backing a rat treasonous traitor who called me a sucker and a loser."
What'd he say?
You know who's a sucker and a loser is? You are, sir. You are a sucker and loser for backing that guy, that fraud, that chameleon. He looked at me and you know what he said? You know how some people get so fed up they put their arm up and they wave it alongside their head like shooing someone away?
Yeah.
He didn't say a word. He shooed me away like that with his arm, and he turned around, and I didn't engage. I didn't say anything else.
Well, I'm glad you said
I'm
that.
not afraid to talk to these people. I might be if I was a small guy or a little guy.
Yeah.
I could be intimidated, but I'm not intimidated by these people. And I noticed that alone.
Of course.
And when they're not in a pack, they're cowards just like Trump.
I think a lot of them are. I certainly agree with you, Mark, and I'm not surprised that he walked away from you without wanting to engaging in a conversation with you. But I'm glad you did that to him, and I think that's important. There's a way to do it. Sadly, there are people out there that can be a little crazy. And how it's interesting how the Republicans want to say they tried to kill Donald Trump, right? We've heard that. They didn't try to kill Donald Trump. A white 20-year-old Republican did. Let's be very clear on that. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Thanks for calling in. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Byron, this is Ant from Las Vegas.
Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, Anthony?
Brian, you've mentioned this a million times, probably, if you mentioned it once. How you said, how many times Donald Trump denied knowing David Duke?
Yeah. It's true.
Okay. I'm 62-year-old. My home birthplace, Detroit, Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Duke was running for a position back in the 80s.
Correct.
He swore to God he was no longer a white supremacist and all of that.
Right.
We wanted to get those votes in.
Yep.
When it was all over with, he got it was a 3% vote.
Right.
So he went away, went right back to his little computer with his little fingers and was right back into his mess, typing his papers.
But it's even worse than that. It's even worse than that, Anthony, because Donald Trump did Larry King's show a bunch of times, and in one of those interviews with the late, great Larry King, and I respect Larry very much, I always have, he was asked about David Duke, and he gave long, broad answers about David Duke, how he's known David Duke for years. And then all of a sudden, he decides to run for president, and he's asked about David Duke, and he said he's unfamiliar, he doesn't know who David Duke is. So does he have Alzheimer's, or is he lying? I would say the latter, he's lying. Of course he knew who David Duke was. The bottom line here is for the people that want to say that when he said there's good people on both sides, that, 5 minutes later he denounced white supremacists. Even if he did, It doesn't matter because on a debate stage with Joe Biden, when he was asked about the Proud Boys, he told them to stand back and stand by. That's who Donald Trump is, because he wants to be nice and coddle to white supremacists because he knows that the overwhelming majority of white supremacists support Donald Trump. They didn't support Joe Biden. They voted for Donald Trump. And they will continue to vote for Donald Trump in 2024.
And where is he at tonight? Or supposed to be Howell, Michigan.
Yep.
Ask me about Howell, Michigan.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's coming to Las Vegas on Friday, and I will be there to interview the Klan cultists. I promise you that.
I know you will, buddy. Hey, you take care and be safe.
All right, my friend.
All the time.
Thank
but
you.
Howell, Michigan,
yep.
People that know about Howell, Michigan,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I could care less what he has to say in his speech tonight. My eyes are going to be focused on the DNC Day 2 today, Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, and so many other important figures that are going to be speaking, including some Republicans as well. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Vivian. Vivian is next on PTL. Hi, Vivian. What's going on?
Hi, Brian. How you doing today?
Hey, good. What's on your mind?
We talked so many things, and there's so many things I want to say, but I'm going to start with there's a rumor going around that Trump is gaining support here in New York, and I'm like, no way. We're too diversified that we wouldn't vote for Trump. But I guess there's some people in some counties that are actually putting that in people's heads that to vote for Trump. I just think it's crazy. He's so against. He hates New York. He hates New York because New Yorkers hate him.
But can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Vivian, if I may?
Yep.
Because I don't necessarily believe that, what you said earlier. Who is claiming that Trump is gaining all this support in New York? Who's making that claim?
It was in like one of the papers. I think it was the Post or something like that.
Yeah, I don't buy it. Let me be very clear on this, okay? Donald Trump has no chance of winning New York. It ain't going to happen. He's not winning New York. So people can say what they want to, that, I don't know who wrote that. Maybe someone that watches Newsmax all day long. Because if you watch Newsmax and OAN and even Fox News after 5 p.m., they will lead you to believe that Donald Trump...
I can't watch those shows. I cannot watch them.
Well, I can't either. But for those that do, that make those types of claims, that they think that Donald Trump won the 2020 election, that the Dominion voting machines were a part of it, that Joe Biden is a pedophile, that Donald Trump is attacked on a daily basis. He's an innocent, good man who cares about the American people, and the Democrats are all communists. If you watch those kinds of networks or listen to right-wing conservative echo chamber radio with a bunch of talentless boobs like Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, or if you watch television and you watch...
Who should be sued.
Yeah, they should. Evil racist witch Laura Ingraham, or that talentless boob Jesse Waters. If you listen to these kinds of people on a daily basis, then I guess some of you might believe that sort of stuff, but they're all a bunch of lying fools is what they are.
And that's what made me on my head. These people are lying so bad. I said, why is the newspapers so pro-Trump? It's totally
well, Vivian, a lot of these, it's the same reason why AM talk radio is owned by so many right-wing turds that I had to work for in my 24-year career. If you have a right-wing turd with a lot of money who's probably white and comes from a family of racist turds that are MAGA supporters, then they're going to run radio stations and air the Sean Hannitys and the Mark Levins, and it'll all be conservative talk radio. The overwhelming majority of people in this country do not think that way, but yet they still make money because they have an audience. But that's why the Fox Newses, again, the OANs, the Newsmax, they have zero credibility. Zero credibility.
None whatsoever.
Nope.
I just want to let you know that I was watching the last night, right? The convention, and I stayed up, watched the whole thing, and then I woke up this morning, was late for work.
Well, it was
overslept.
There were, well, you know what? That means, Vivian, that they're doing their job. When you had those women up there on that stage talking about what they spoke about when it comes to the abortion issue and what could happen if Donald Trump gets reelected, it's very emotional what those poor women and those families have had to go through. Why would you want to make it harder for them? I thought that was a really emotional moment. And there were a lot of emotional moments when Joe Biden's daughter introduced her father and they embraced, and even Joe got a little emotional there. That was a nice moment. There were a lot of nice moments last night. There'll be a lot more tonight, I am sure. Michelle and Barack Obama, just a few that are scheduled to speak. All right. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Alan, who's next up on PTL. Hi, Alan. Where are you calling from?
How you doing, Brian?
Hey, doing
Brian,
good.
let me talk to you, buddy. It's
Okay.
Philly out here. I wanted to, first of all, let me put your last caller from New York at ease. I was just up in central New York over the weekend.
Yeah.
We're at a
We lost you.
I gotta tell you,
You
not
still there?
one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still here. Can
Yep,
you hear me?
I got you. Go ahead, Alan.
Not one person. This party's about 30, 40 people there.
Yep.
Not one supported Trump.
Good.
I actually, when the name Trump came off, they got very defensive. Like, are you kidding me?
Good.
That guy's a piece of you-know-what.
I love
So,
New Yorkers. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something about New Yorkers. Not that you need to know, but I grew up in Connecticut, and even though I grew up a Boston sports fan, I spent a lot of time in New York. I had family on East 65th between 1st and 2nd. Let me tell you something
Right.
I've always loved about so many of these New Yorkers. They tell it like it is. And when Donald Trump says, I'm a New Yorker, I tell it like it is. No, you don't. You don't tell it like it is. You lie. He's a bigot. He lies. That's when I think of New Yorkers, I think of honest, good, hardworking people that are who they are and they're not fake. Donald Trump is the definition of fake and phony. He's the definition of, he wakes up in the morning and puts on his 8 layers of orange makeup with his 5 hair transplants. Everything the guy does and everything he does is a fraud. He's lived his whole life as a snake oil salesman fraud. That is not a New Yorker. When I think New Yorker, I think hardworking guy, hardworking woman, 10 hours a day, 50 hours a week, supporting,
Amen, brother.
supporting a
Amen.
family. That's educated, good, hardworking Americans. Donald Trump is the opposite of that. He ain't no New Yorker.
So I got to tell you, Brian, let me talk to you. I was talking to some Trump supporters again. I like starting trouble now because I really feel that we're on a roll here.
Yep.
I asked, what did Trump do? What did he really do? And one of them actually said, well, he built the wall. Wait a minute. He did what? He built the wall.
I think Melania Trump has
well.
built a wall around him. That's what I think is going on.
What was the other thing? He built the wall. Oh, Biden lies. Okay, well, how many lies did Donald Trump tell within his how many years of office?
Oh my God, these people are just so stupid. It's just unbelievable.
Now I got to ask you a serious question.
Okay, I'm ready.
Donald Trump is 70-some years, 77, is it?
I think it's 78.
77
I
years
could be
old.
wrong. Yeah.
Your opinion? Does the man look healthy to you? Like
No. He looks like a slob. Have you seen what he looks like on the golf course? I think Joe Biden looks a lot more healthy than Donald Trump. I mean, at least Joe Biden can get on a bicycle. Donald Trump, the guy, do you see what this guy eats and what he looks like? I mean, give me a break. The guy's disgusting.
They were worried about poor Biden, who's one of the greatest presidents in my eyes. But Donald, I don't know if he's going to make the election. If you ask me.
All due respect to Chris Christie, Donald Trump is looking more and more like Chris Christie every day. I mean, that's just
right.
I appreciate the fact that Christie's not supporting Trump anymore. Let me tell you something. Our former vice president, Mike Pence, who I don't have a lot of respect for. I have more respect for him than Trump. That's a very low bar. But if Mike Pence, because his right-hand woman, for lack of a better term, his advisor, the one that was by his side, Troy, I believe her name is, she's going to be speaking at the DNC tonight. Nothing would be better, and I know that Pence isn't going to do that because he has no backbone, and his party means more to him than the country, but nothing would mean more if he actually got up there on that stage and endorsed Kamala Harris. But, Pence, Trump, most of these MAGA Republicans, and I know Pence isn't a MAGA Republican, they would never say or do what Joe Biden said and did and what he said on that stage last night when he said, I love my job, but I love my country more. Many of these MAGA Republicans are the opposite of that. Let's be clear about that.
I got to ask you one more thing. Where is our girl Marjorie? She hasn't been seen in a long time. Where's she at?
I mean, I think she's having relations with that guy who used to work at Newsmax, so maybe they're just in the bedroom 24/7. I just ruined your dinner. I'm sorry.
Ooh, God, Brian, please don't.
What was it that I'm sorry, what was it that Crockett said in describing her body? A butch bod? Is that what
badly blonde butch body, something like that.
Yeah,
badly bleached blonde with a butch body.
She's looking
and
like
Crockett.
I tell you,
she's
I love Carrot Top, but she's looking more like Carrot Top every day. I don't know, man.
Oh,
Anyway,
God.
I appreciate the call, my friend. You stay safe out there in New York, brother. I love you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Rose. Rose is next up, I believe, on PTL. Hi, Rose. Thanks for calling into the show. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
I come from Long Island. I just want to say that the woman that spoke about New York turning, the reason why she probably said that is because Nassau County and Suffolk County are big Trump supporters. I am not.
Right.
But my whole family is. And it's really upsetting. I mean, they have Lee Zeldin. You know what I mean? Like, who would vote for him?
Yeah. So, Rose, I think you'll agree with me that there's always going to be small counties in certain states, in the states that predominantly vote blue, that could, be red in some of these smaller districts. Doesn't mean that Trump's going to win New York. I got to tell you something, Rose. I do have some good news for you. I've been very concerned about the state of Nevada. We had our former governor on, Governor Sisolak, last week. But in the latest polls, it looks like Harris has surpassed Trump. So I'm starting to think that maybe Nevada will vote Harris. I hope.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, this is a huge swing state. There's a lot of key swing states. Nevada is certainly one of them. And, we have a Republican governor, Joe Lombardo, who I'm not a big fan of. But I got to tell you something. I saw a huge crowd at the Harris rally here a few weeks ago. I don't know what type of crowd we're going to see at this Trump rally on Friday, but I'm beginning to be a little bit more confident that Harris might take Nevada.
Well, my girl's in Arizona, and she feels confident, too, that Arizona might go for Harris.
God, you got a bunch of there's some great people in Arizona, but there's also some whack jobs like Kerry Lake. Oh my God.
We have some whack jobs here.
Yeah, listen, we got to get these whack jobs out of office, and if they're trying to crawl back into office or even get in for the first time, just got to vote them out, man. Kerry Lake is a disgrace. She's an embarrassment. And unfortunately, there's
Here's the thing with my family that I notice. They're the first ones to go, oh, politics, I don't watch that shit. But they don't watch it.
Well, if they don't watch it, then what are they going to do in November when they
But
vote?
they vote for Trump.
Yeah, well, that's why. They're uneducated and ill-informed morons. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I wish there was an IQ test. This is where I kind of agree with Vivek Ramaswamy. I disagree with him on just about everything. But this is where I kind of agree with him. Maybe I'm not as extreme as he is on this issue. I think there should be some sort of test, an IQ test to vote. And I know he's got some weird opinions on this, but I think there should be some sort of prerequisite to vote. I'm telling you, Republicans would never win. There's got to be
would be great.
There's got to be some sort of the Electoral College, to use Donald Trump is rigged.
Yes, that's
rigged.
what's ruined it.
It's rigged for Republicans, and they still can't win. But I think there has to be.
Yeah, but then if it goes to the Supreme Court, they will.
I think give me 10 basic questions to ask. It doesn't even really have to be an IQ test. Just you have to know who the president is. You have to know who the vice president is. You
should know how government works.
Yeah, you should have to have a basic idea of how government works. You should have to pay taxes. I just think there should be some sort of prerequisite, because let's be honest, many of the people that would fail that basic of tests will be voting for Donald Trump. Let's just be real about this. They're the ones that are ill-informed, like some of the people that that you just mentioned, that don't watch TV. I'm not saying you have to be glued to the television 24/7 like I am, but you have to have a basic understanding of how.
But here's another thing: it's not only that they're uninformed, or it's not that. It's just that they're angry, and he appeals to their anger.
I think it's okay. So here's my opinion on that. First of all, I agree with you. When you look at the DNC last night, these were people that were filled with joy. They were happy. They seemed like a very diverse crowd.
I was up till 12:30 watching it. I had to get up for work this morning.
As was I, because I had to get up for work too to talk about it with all you good people. But when you go to when you see the RNC, a lot of anger. There's a lot of anger at his rallies. I think it's okay to be angry if your anger is coming from a good place. For example, I'm angry that Republicans want to take away a woman's right to choose. I'm angry.
I am too.
I'm angry at the attacks on the LGBT community and attacks on
transgenders. Yes, I am too.
I'm angry when somebody like Charlie Kirk is allowed to be at the DNC and asking people to find what a woman is. I mean, I get angry at people like that, the Candace Owens of the world who spread bigotry and hatred. And there's a lot of people on social media. So So I'm angry at that, but I'd like to believe my anger comes from a good place. Make no mistake about it. At Donald Trump rallies, when people wear F Joe and the ho, that anger is not coming from a good place. That's pure bigotry and misogyny. Okay. That anger is so it's one thing to be angry at injustices in the world, right? We all saw what happened to George Floyd. It's okay to be angry. I'm not saying that it's okay to attack police officers and light buildings on fire, which the overwhelming majority of people did not do in the Black Lives Matter protest. But a lot of those people, I'm talking about the people now that didn't commit crimes, they're angry, and they should be. And we all should be angry at that. So I think anger has different places in society, but I am very happy, and I think we'll agree on this, my dear, that we didn't see anger. And I know people, Joe Biden seemed angry on the stage last night. No, that was passion. Joe Biden was passionate on the stage last night. He talked about his life. He talked about his frustrations with those on the far right. And Donald Trump, he talked about our democracy being on the line. That wasn't anger. That was passion. There's difference. There's differences there. When people carry their tiki torches and say Jews will not replace us, blood and soil, those are bigoted, racist, angry people. They have anger in their heart. Now, when people are chanting lock him up at the DNC convention last night, you can dislike that if you like. But I think if anybody has the right to chant that, it would be Hillary Clinton. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Carl. Carl is next up on PTO. Hi, Carl. What's going on?
Hey, Brian. How you doing, buddy? You're one of the best in the business, of course. But Doug was great yesterday too.
Yeah, Doug's great.
I'm glad you picked him.
I agree.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Listen, my father was way back. He was a top executive of one of the major film studios. Anyway, I look at things in terms of pictures and movies because when I was a kid, I used to go to the studios and all and visit them. And I'm comparing the two conventions, the Democrat and the Republican ones.
Yeah.
And I look at it this way in the thing about film. The Republican convention was not even a B grade movie, it was a D grade. The Democratic one was an Academy Award winning convention. Mm-hmm. If you compare the two together.
Yeah.
I mean,
there is no comparison.
There's night and day. Night and day.
You have one convention where they spread bigotry and hatred, where you have people like Hulk Hogan, racist steroid freaks, and guys like Dana White, who I will never defend. He's a wife beater as far as I'm concerned, despicable. You got idiots like Kid Rock performing, talentless morons like Kid Rock. Even Melania was trying not to laugh when he performed. And then, you have people, I assume people like Beyonce, people with tremendous careers. Taylor Swift is allegedly going to be performing. These are, there's wonderful people, talented people, diverse people, and people that are respected. And you know what, Carl, the bottom line here, I think day one, I give them an A. I thought they did a great job yesterday. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what Michelle Obama, a very powerful, intelligent, well-respected black woman, has to say about Kamala Harris. I'm really looking forward to it. Not that I'm not looking forward to what Barack Obama has to say either. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Paul. Paul is next up on PTL. What's going on, Paul?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good.
Hey, yeah, that was the most excited I think I've ever been for a convention. I think I cried like 3 times. Those stories that that girl told about being raped by her stepdad was absolutely gut-wrenching.
Agree.
Gut-wrenching. Hey, I think they're kind of freaking out. One thing that I think went under the radar, did you see that Tom Cotton was at like a state fair and he already has like 5 debates scheduled with his opponent, and he just went up there with a camera and a camera crew and just wanted to debate him all of a sudden? Did you notice that? Did you see that?
I did not see that video. Did he do that? I did not know that.
He was. He's panicking.
Well,
he
Tom Cotton is another deplorable who wears the Donald Trump knee pads. He's a racist idiot, and he's said some awful things, but continues to coddle Donald Trump. He's a guy with zero credibility and bird for brains, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, I think the country is, I think we're going to turn the corner here. But, hey, I wanted to ask you a policy question that Harris gave. And I kind of see both sides of it. What do you think about giving the $25,000 for first-time home buyers? Because I understand people that didn't have the $25,000 like myself that had to do it out of pocket. But I also understand the need to help people that don't have the resources themselves. What are your thoughts on something like that, or have you had a chance to think about that?
I haven't thought a lot about it, but I will do that live on the air with you now. Here's what I will say to that. I feel the same way about that as I feel about student loan debt forgiveness, meaning people are struggling. There's a lot of people that are struggling, and this would give them a leg up and help them buy a home. As far as student loan debt forgiveness, you hear the argument from the right. I had to pay my student loans, so I want everybody else to suffer. I had to put down that house down payment, so now everybody else should have to do that. Listen, if it helps people and it's not people that are wealthy, which it won't be, if it's not people that are making six figures a year, which my understanding it won't be, then I am totally okay with it in helping people live their dreams. Life is very short. And if the government can help out people getting that $25,000 down in a home, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. I kind of feel like in the same thing with the school. I paid for my own college, even though I went to a JC. But if somebody else in a future generation has an opportunity to have an easier opportunity that doesn't have the same financial, success that I've had, then I think we should all. Isn't that what we want to do? It's we versus me. And I think that as a former Republican, it feels like that's the difference if you look at the two parties. Now, I'm not saying, and I agree with you on the social issues about, leaning more left and progressive, but I understand the whole need about, freedom and personal freedoms, but it also feels like the Democrats are more about we, and then the Republicans sure the hell seem to be more about
Well, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about, and it goes to your original question about this $25,000 down payment to a home. Many of these Republicans, some of whom are in office that have a lot of money now, will talk a good game and say this is a bad idea. But I can also guarantee you that back in the day when maybe some of them didn't have a lot of money, they would have jumped at this opportunity. It's Vivek Ramaswamy is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. He's a guy that's against affirmative action and against anything that could put somebody ahead if they're a minority. But yet Vivek took this scholarship money when he already had hundreds of thousands of dollars and he used the color of his skin. A lot of these Republicans are against the student loan forgiveness, which I think is a good idea, not a bad idea. But yet many of these Republicans took out PPE loans during COVID and they don't have to pay that back for their businesses. So if it works out for them and it could help them, they're for it. Or if they vote against a bill that Democrats voted for, but it helps their district, they'll take credit for it. That's exactly who these Republicans are. They're hypocrites and they're a bunch of scumbags is what they are.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight. I voted for that orange turd in 2016, and I've regretted that every day of my life. So, I thought that Hillary Clinton gave an absolutely eloquent speech.
Very well done.
Last night.
I agree. Very well done. Listen, you're not, Paul, while I didn't vote for Donald Trump, I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I didn't want to vote for either of them. We both made a mistake.
Yeah.
We can own that mistake. We had no idea that Donald Trump was going to end up being the monster that he turned out to be.
That's true.
We made a mistake.
Yeah.
We're not going to make that same mistake again in November, and that's all that matters, my friend, and I appreciate your call, Paul. Thank you.
All right, bud.
All right,
Later.
take care. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Armando, who's next up on PTL. Hi, Armando. What's going on, man?
Oh yeah, Brian. Listen, there's two national medals that are given. One is the Medal of Honor. The other one is the Medal of Freedom.
Correct.
Now, I don't know if they're compatible or not, because the Medal of Honor is given to heroics of battlefield, land, air, sea.
Right. Correct.
And the idea there is kill the other guy.
Right. Well, I think what you're referring to, and rightfully so, criticism of Donald Trump's comments he made the other day. First of all, you shouldn't have to compare it. That's number one. You shouldn't have to. And it was Donald Trump that not only made the comparison, but said that the award that he gave out to one of his large donor friends was even more special and more important than awards we give out to brave men and women who have been injured on the fields of battle or even have died. For him to even make that statement shows you his stupidity and his lack of understanding of how brave you have to be to serve, which he, by the way, dodged in doing multiple times because of his alleged bone spurs, which was a lie.
Yeah, okay, so it has, it's the Honor of Freedom, the Medal of Freedom. It has a political tinge to it, like freedom of expression. and so Miriam Adelson donates millions to Trump. So I guess he feels that she deserves a medal.
Armando, this is why one of the reasons why Trump is so dangerous. He can be bought. He can be bought by a donor. He can be bought by a foreign adversary. It doesn't matter. He can be bought. He's been bought by Vladimir Putin. We know it. It's why he will not call out Vladimir Putin ever. Okay? That's why this man is so dangerous. That's why he's a threat to our democracy. It's not just the lying about the elections, and I think you know that, Armando. This man is dangerous. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to play you some audio from last night. Jamie Raskin made some great points. A statement he made about J.D. Vance. We're going to play that for you. When we come back, we're going to hear from Miss Crockett, who's a firecracker herself. She made some great comments yesterday. And what I believe to be the most Joe Biden said a lot of important things yesterday. But what I believe was the most important thing he said yesterday, we are going to play that for you when we come back. I also want to remind all of you, we are basically a public radio show, like public access television, public radio, NPR. What does that mean? Well, we rely on people like you. So what can you do to help us? If you enjoy the show every day, and I know many of you do, and we appreciate you, here's what you can do for us. Check out the website. My website is pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website, pushingthelimits.live. We sell merchandise on there. You can sign up for our free newsletter, but we sell merchandise, mugs, hats, shirts, all sorts of cool stuff to support what we do. If you don't want to buy merchandise, that's totally fine. Take you less than 2 minutes. Right on the front of our page on pushingthelimits.live, there's a donate button. Doesn't matter what you can afford. We appreciate anything. $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month. We've had some very generous donations. We appreciate all of you. And with that donation, you will hear from me personally. Just give me a few days to get back to you. But we appreciate all of you very much. Pushingthelimits.live is where you can help support this show and what we do. And a programming note for you, we have Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch that's going to be joining us tomorrow. So certainly look forward to that. We'll be taking more phone calls on the other side. That number is 702-221-7283. And again, that number one more time, 702-221-7283. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, what was it that Joe Biden said last night that I thought was the most poignant thing in his entire speech? We'll have that for you coming up next right here on Pushing the Limits. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. We had Ed Krasenstein joining us earlier in the show. Guy's got over 1 million followers on Twitter, but there's a reason for that. He's really good at what he does in covering anything and everything politics. And a guy with certainly that stature for Midas Touch, Ron Filipkowski, who's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. You might notice my voice is a little crackly today. Well, what happens when you go see a bunch of concerts and you start screaming and hooting and hollering? I got to be drinking the tea today. But that's what happens when you party hard and you have a lot of fun. But I'm refreshed. I feel good to be back. And the next couple months are going to be, well, they're going to be something else from a political standpoint, that's for sure. Tonight is day 2 of the Democrat National Convention in Chicago. Michelle Obama scheduled to speak along, of course, with her husband, Barack Obama, and many other important people, including some Republicans that are going to be taking the stage, which is going to be quite something else. But I want to first say that this portion of the program is brought to you by the official gaming bar of Las Vegas, Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. They have a really cool promotion this month, which is, if you haven't already heard, anybody hits a jackpot and you're in the bar actually playing a machine with your card in the machine, you're going to get $20 in free slot play. Really cool promotion. Check them out. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones, the official gaming bar of PTL. Jamie Raskin was one of many who spoke last night. And I thought this was a very funny moment because, you know, there was a job opening for Donald Trump's running mate because Mike Pence will, I don't think Mike Pence and Donald Trump getting along much these days. I think it's the first time in history where a former president's vice president will not be supporting him for re-election. I think it's the first time, at least in my lifetime. I'm not sure if this has ever happened. But anyway, about that job opening, listen to what Jamie Raskin had to say about that.
J.D. Vance, do you understand why there was a sudden job opening for running mate on the GOP ticket? They tried to kill your predecessor.
Yeah, they did. They did. That's very, very true. Of course, he's talking and referring to January 6th, where they, not just one 20-year-old white Republican, because so many of these they tried to kill Donald Trump. No, they didn't. One white 20-year-old Republican tried to do that. When Jamie Raskin correctly says they tried to kill the vice president, yes, there were many that were chanting on January 6th, hang Mike Pence. So yes, Jamie Raskin is factually accurate when he says they were trying to kill your predecessor. And while part of it is funny because it's so insane, it's also true. I thought when Crockett spoke yesterday, man, she came out swinging. I thought it was one of the better lines last night that Crockett had. Have a listen to this.
Good. Looking at the two choices before you, who would you hire? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris has a resume. Donald Trump has a rap sheet. She presides over the Senate while he keeps our national secrets next to his thinking chair. Y'all know what I said that other time. In Mar-a-Lago.
It's funny, actually, but it's also very true. And I don't have a problem with, Democrats need to call out Donald Trump. I don't have a problem because what they're saying is factually accurate. Former prosecutor versus the felon. So she's 150% correct. And there were a lot of great moments last night that I've talked about on this show that I've emphasized. And as one of the callers stated, and I spoke about, when you had those women on that stage talking about just some horrible, horrible things that they've had to go through, I can't imagine how hard it is knowing that your unborn child, who you're planning on having, is not going to make it, but yet you can't abort the child. And then your health is in jeopardy. And that couple that spoke about that on the stage yesterday was gut-wrenching. And then you had a very brave woman. You had several brave women up there. And then you had another woman who spoke about when she was a young girl at the age of 12 years old and the horrific rape from her stepfather. Gut-wrenching. I don't know what other word to use. It's just it hurts your heart to hear what these poor women have had to go through. And I hurt for them. I just can't even imagine. But it was so important for these women to tell their stories. Imagine living in a country where you're a young girl. I mean, you could be at any age. It's horrible. But a young girl at the age of 12. And you're raped by a member of your family. And because of Republicans and because of Donald Trump, you'd be forced to have that rape baby. Project 2025 is very clear. They want to ban abortion nationwide. And Donald Trump could try to distance himself from that, but a lot of the people who he's hired are the ones that created Project 2025. I thought that was really important. And those women have so much bravery to be able to be up there and talk about something so personal and so traumatic and so harmful. But America needs to know. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, at least it shouldn't. And it doesn't matter what side of the issue you're on. If you're pro-life or call yourself pro-life, I hate that word. You're not pro-life, you're anti-abortion. That's another story. But if you call yourself pro-life, then guess what? You should vote that way your entire career. Most Republicans vote against every government program that could help that woman raise that child. Could be maternity leave, food stamps, welfare. So they call themselves pro-life, but as soon as that baby is born, they're anti-life. I think it speaks volumes, the differences where the Democrats are consistent. A woman should have the right to choose what she wants to do with her own body. Those women on that stage told a story. And that story was heard by millions and millions of people last night, and it was important. And when Kamala Harris says, we're not going back, you should listen. Because we don't want to go back. We want to move forward. I said, and I've been saying for a very, very long time, that I would vote for a ham sandwich over Donald Trump, and I still feel that way today. But the more and more I hear about Harris and the more and more I hear about her life, the way she's lived her life, admirable. The way she had to work at a fast food chain to pay her way through college and to become a prosecutor, to make something of herself, become a senator, and eventually the vice president, and what I believe will be the first female president of all time. It's incredible. Nobody gave her anything. She had to earn everything. And while Republicans want to slut shame her, and while Republicans want to attack her for her lack of her blackness, because they try to search and they're desperate, I don't believe it's going to work. And I believe when Harris takes the stage later this week, she's going to give another great speech. And she'll do great. Joe Biden took the stage and he embraced his daughter. That was a very touching moment. Biden got emotional. He wiped away some tears. Gave a good speech. I saw it being more a relaxed Joe Biden, but poignant, on point, with conviction. Wasn't an angry Joe Biden. It was with passion. But I thought this was the statement that says it all, and I thought it was the most important thing. Maybe he said a lot of important things, but maybe the most important thing he said of it all in his speech. Have a listen to this.
It's been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your president. I love the job, but I love my country more. I love my country more. And all this talk about how I'm angry at all those people who said I should step down. That's not true. I love my country more, and we need to preserve our democracy. In 2024, we need you to vote. We need you to keep the Senate. We need you to win back the House of Representatives. And above all, we need you to beat Donald Trump.
I love my job, but I love my country more. Something that Donald Trump would never say. Something that Donald Trump would never do. Was there some pressure for Joe Biden to step aside? Of course. I don't think anybody would deny that. But ultimately, this was Joe Biden's decision. And ultimately, he trusts Kamala Harris. And ultimately, this was Joe Biden's decision to make. I love my job. I love my country more. I believe that. And I believe everything that he said in that speech last night. And Joe Biden's a good man. He's an honorable man. I appreciate his service to this country. And, in the latter years of his life, I'd like to see Joe Biden enjoy his family. I'd like to see Joe Biden enjoy life a little bit and maybe get out of the limelight and just enjoy yourself. And I'm sure he will do that. I'm interested to see Michelle Obama and Barack Obama speak again tonight. Barack Obama and Michelle, they're just amazing public speakers. So I'm really looking forward to listening to them speak tonight. We'll have all the coverage for you tomorrow, of course. Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch will be joining us tomorrow as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we'll be getting some reports from those that are attending the DNC. Be joining us throughout the remainder of the week, no doubt. So I appreciate all of you for joining us. And I will say it's good to be back. I'm refreshed. I feel ready to go. And this is a independent show. So we rely on people like you to support what we do. We appreciate you all watching and tuning in every day. I appreciate all of you very much. What I would ask of you is check out my website, pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website, pushingthelimits.live. Sign up for the free newsletter on there. And we sell some merchandise on there. You can see that in the merchandise section where it says shop. And if you don't want to buy any merchandise, we have a donation button that you can make right on the front page. Doesn't matter what it is, $5, $10, $20, and we appreciate your support of this show. And we're going to continue to do what we do. There's no question about that. So I'm very appreciative of all of you. My socials on Twitter at PTL Radio Show, YouTube at PTL Radio Show, where I'm pretty active. Of course, you can find me on Facebook as well. Just look for the pasty white guy wearing the fedoras. That's usually me. Yeah, follow me on all the social media platforms, YouTube especially, at PTL Radio Show, and of course on X at PTL Radio Show. And we appreciate Ed Krasenstein for joining us. I'm going to post some of that interview up on social media a little bit later today. But thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Check out my website, pushingthelimits.live, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.